Well, today we have a real treat for you. If you've been wondering what to do with your herbs besides cook with them, we have a fun project today. With us today is Carl Neal of Mother's Hearth in Tulsa. Carl, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me, Brenda.
Now, Carl is going to show us how to make incense, and I'm really excited about this. And Carl, how did you get into making incense?
Well, it started, I had a shop in Tulsa, and I wanted to try and make some incense just because we sold so much incense, and it was a real quest to figure out how to do it. So now that I finally have figured it out, I'm trying to teach everyone in the world how to do it.
Oh, that's great. Now you've got your supplies all laid out here. What do you need to make incense? I guess, what do you make incense out of, first off?
Well, you have two basic components, which are a base, which is any kind of wood powder. A lot of people use evergreen needles that have been ground and sifted so that you only have a powder left. So that's the foundation of all incense. Then you need an aromatic, which in this case, like this is powdered lavender, which pretty much any herb out of your garden that dries and smells good when you dry it, you can use.
Oh, cool.
The only other important ingredient is some kind of a binding agent to hold it all together. In this case, I'm using gum tragacanth, which is just a powdered gum material. People use gum arabic, and just anything with the word gum in it, pretty much, people make incense with.
Okay.
And that's all you need. You mix those components together, add a little water, you've got incense.
Oh, that's neat. Now, you talked about the plants out of your garden. What part of the plant would you use?
Well, you want to use the aromatic parts, and of course it depends on the plant. In the case of lavender, we're going to use flowers. You'd use sage leaf, patchouli leaf. If you grow jasmine ground cover, you can use the flowers from jasmine. Pretty much anything. The only thing I'd avoid is using any strong mints. I wouldn't use peppermint or anything like that, but pennyroyal, mints like that, catnip, those all work wonderful. Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got dried lavender right here. How do we go about making it into incense?
Okay, the first step is we're going to take, this is some older lavender, so a lot of my flowers have fallen off here. But in the case of lavender, you just take and strip off the part that you're going to use, which for us is flowers. And of course, it's going to take a few minutes to strip an awful lot of that. And then all of the lavender flowers will go into your blender, which mine is really nice. It has a chop setting, which is what I do with it all the time. So you want to chop it up 3 to 5 minutes. It takes a while to get it down to the powdered consistency that you want. And then if you use a real fancy sifter, you can use one of those, but I just use my $1 sifter. And that works great to get all of the stems and chunks and big parts out. You want to be left with just the powder. And that's true of any time you make incense, you want to grind it to a powder. If you use something like sage, it takes a lot of grinding. Sage is a tough leaf, so you've got to grind it quite a bit to get it to powder, but you'll get great results.
So now once you've got it in powder form, what's our next step then?
All right, then we're going to combine the ingredients, and since we're doing lavender today, I'll go ahead and give you the recipe, so anybody who has some lavender out there will be able to make some incense with it. And this same recipe is a good base for any herb that you want to try it. It may work, it may not, it just depends. Just make sure that your herb is really dry. So what I'm starting with here is 5½ teaspoons of lavender powder. And then I'm going to add to that 3 teaspoons of wood powder, which in this case I'm using red oak powder. And then just a 1/4 teaspoon of tragacanth gum powder. It doesn't take much, it's very powerful stuff.
Now where would a person find the gum powder?
That is the hardest part to find. You can try, any of your chemical supply houses can order it for you. Some herb shops will sell it. You can get it off of my website. And we'll blend all of these together dry and get them thoroughly mixed. All right. And then I'm adding 4½ teaspoons of water. And the water is the one thing that you may have to adjust. It depends on the humidity. It depends on how dry your plant material is. So if you stir it all together and you have a runny mess, add some more wood powder. And if it won't stick together at all, add some more water. So it's a little bit like cooking. You have recipes, but it's not an exact science. Once you get it to the mealy stage, it looks kind of like pie dough.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you put on your gloves. Always wear gloves when rolling incense because it will stick to your hands. And it may smell good, but you don't really want it in your body.
Right. That's pretty concentrated once you get it in that form. So, oh, this is fun. It's like Play-Doh.
It is just like Play-Doh, and you can get out all of your kids' Play-Doh tools and have fun, make all different shapes. I have a Play-Doh fun factory that is great for making stick incense.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you just squirt it out and put a stick in the end and you're ready to go. All right, and when you get it to a nice clay consistency, it's ready to roll. And for making cones, which is the easiest for beginners, I use about 1/4 of a teaspoon of this mixture per cone. And all I've done is rough shape it kind of like a pyramid. It's got 4 sides and it's roughly the cone shape. And then I'm gonna, this is the magic part, put it in my hand and roll it a little bit. Ooh, and that's a beautiful cone. But just like anything made out of dough, if you have any cracks or breaks in it, you can just smush it together.
Okay.
Smash it out flat here.
Okay, now here you've got some that you've already
You can make little tiny cones. You can make great big cones. I've even made them like that tall. These are coils of incense, which are, that's a Japanese style, and you can make great big coils that'll burn for 6 or 8 hours. These are joss sticks, which are incense with no stick up the middle. They just burn by themselves, and those burn a lot better than regular stick incense. And so the whole process is very easy.
That is. Now, okay, you've got it in the cone. You just made it. How long does it need to dry before you can use it?
All right, what you've got to do, the thinner it is, the faster it's going to dry, the easier it's going to dry. But for cones, you want to let them sit about an hour on their bottoms like this so that they'll take on this cone shape. Then you can turn them over. Takes about 48 hours to dry them all.
Great. And then to store them?
Store them in an airtight container. It's a good idea with most incense to go ahead and add some essential oil from that plant if you'd like, and you can add that either into the dough while it's wet, or you can wait until it's dry and put a few drops on top. And you get the best effect that way. Put a few drops on and then light it right away, and it just smells wonderful.
Oh, cool. Now, one final thing. You've got something here that if somebody doesn't want to make incense, but they'd like to burn some herbs and get that scent off of them, they can even do that,
That's right. It's called loose incense, and this is a charcoal tablet. You can buy these in pretty much any herb or incense shop. A lot of the mall shops have them. You light it, it's full of potassium nitrate, so it lights itself once you touch one little edge. And then you can put any dried plant material on there that you want. You can sprinkle on essential oils, and you get that instant gratification without having to go through all of this process.
Oh, that's neat.
So yeah, and that's also a good way for herbs that are too hard to burn. That you've tried to roll incense and it doesn't work. This will work with anything.
Okay. And then when people are harvesting their herbs, they basically would just cut them, harvest them like you would dry any other herb?
Sure, you can even use herbs right out of your kitchen. If you want.
Great. Well, we really appreciate this, and I'm looking forward to trying this on my own.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.